For adding color, we will start again from the face here. Since I think I will add some bluish color on her eyelashes here, just to see some reflection from this eye down here. Same process as before. I'm using paintbrush. Maybe a little darker on the lower part of the eyelash. So next will be the hair. Let me make some adjustment again. So this area should be a little bit flat. So it should be looks like this. I'll smooth some of the area. I think I will merge all this front hair. So I'll merge this one, and this one. So I'll start with here. Make sure all the subdivision is on the highest subdivision level, and press merge down, the merge down. So now adding the highlight of this hair. I'll add some white color in here. Isn't really visible, so let me add some bluish highlight like this. So since this character, oh yes, you can see here, this one right here, a little bit bluish. I think we have a wrong color this time. Let me change this like this. Yeah, the color is a bit more brownish like this, and there's a little bit bluish highlight, so I'll just add this. So the way how I add this is just create some stroke like this with a focal shift a little bit lower. You can check on the flat color also if you want to see how it looks like. So I'll create a line like this. So next I'll just add white on the middle, just to emphasize the highlight. Check with your model. Maybe add some darker brown. On the downside here, also there's shadow, should be shadow around this area here. So for dark color, usually I will use it a little bit higher saturation. So now for the rest of the hair, same color. For this part here, I'll just add the darker color, reduce my intensity a bit. Should be look like this. And for this part here, I will add the darker color right on the intersection between each shapes, like this. This one also. And you can add some bluish, maybe right here. You can check with a flat color. Now this part. Add the blue color. I think this one right here can be have more variation on the blue highlight, so it's more random. Maybe a bit stronger right here. Now moving on this part right here, I'll just add some darkish gray, bluish like this on some of the fur, so it's act like a shadow, just to give a better accent for the fur. Don't forget to add around here. Back side as well. Just paint some part that only visible to the camera, so and this here I can adjust the shapes a bit, and I'll continue with other fur also, like here. Make sure it's highest subdivision level. Just press all height this, so all your subtool is on the highest subdivision. There's intersection right here. Just remove this real quick. Check the flat color. You can add more white as the highlight. Doesn't really visible on this material. But it will give a better color like this, so it has some more volume. Looks like it has more volume compared to before. So I'll do the same with the main fur. Now don't forget the tail. And now for this part, I will need to, since this color it's not pure white, so I'll just make this and this color is a bit different. It is based on the concept art from the back view. So I'll copy this color, apply it to this one right here, and the one on the cape as well. So for now we will select this color here. We can do that by opening up the masking here, and then mask by color, mask by polypaint here. Just click that one and drag this one and pick this color. Put the tolerance to lower like this. Just apply the color, so it's a little bit purplish color. It's a good accent for this one. Maybe it's a little bit too purple. Let me adjust this. You can adjust the polypaint using this one here. Open the polypaint subpalette and adjust color. I'll reduce the saturation just a little, so you can see it's reduced. I'll apply on this one and this one as well. So we will do that on every cape parts here. Actually right now you can just merge all this cape, but the poly count, the active point here, will be a bit too big, so I prefer not to. So I just do it manually like this on each cape. Put tolerance to this, apply. This one automatically, hopefully this one also. Oh yeah, this one. Okay, so we have all the cape is painted like this. Just added some darker color on this area here, the clothes folding, and the edges line, the stitching line here. Also here. This one here doesn't look good, so I'll just push it using move. I will add the same color on around this here, this part also. for the cape here, I'll undo so it will just mask this part. Add some paint on the clothing folds. Same with other part. Now looks like this. We can continue the rest of the parts. For example, this one here, a little darker on the stitches here and around here. Just add some fake shadows. This part here a little bit visible, so I'll just improve the folds real quick. Check the flat color. This part right here a bit too dark. Moving on to this one. So add on every line here. Should look like this. I'll darken this part as also. Now this part. Moving on to gloves. I will add some darker parts here. This line here. And this part. Ooh, more dark since it's holding the staff. Area between the finger also. I think this one a little bit too dark. Just make something like this. Now these parts here. This stocking also, I'll pick the darker color. This area here. The knee, the lower or the knee of the knee here, just a little. And this one down here. And for the stocking, I will add some highlight. Its color should be orange like this. And we will need to add the snowflakes texture, the snowflakes pattern also. Check with the reference. Now moving on, I think this cape here, each of this line also need some color. And this one right here, I can quickly clean this up. This one also. Every line here need to be have some darker color. Here also refining this here. Now adding the darker color. I think this part here need more time standard. Now the last one. For the straps here, I think it's better if I change the color similar to the cape. It's not too stand out like this, or maybe just keep it white. It should be fine like this. Can add some white. And here. Here also. Now moving down to the boots here. For the boots, should be a little darker down here. I think this part here also you can see a little bit gradient. Usually for the lower part there's a gradient color, so you can less focus on the lower area and more focus on the top area. So for example here I'll adding a little bit darker, more gradation, transition from the darker to the top more brighter color. I think it should be half also on the boots area. This down here also, the other part. Add some on here, bit bluish. I'll just use gray instead. So looks like this. Need a bit white on here. I think for the sole, this one I'll color it same as the sole here. For the bunny, add more shadow on its belly. Same the other one. Okay, so now we're working on the snowflakes effect. So we're going to need to create the snowflake effect first. We can use our previously modeled snow. So we will start using this one. Let me find the best snow. This one here, looks more visible compared to the other. The other is just half of the snowflake like this. So I'll start with this one. So we need this one here. I think the shapes is a bit similar. Or this one I think. I will turn on all of this, hide this part, merge visible. auto group, and I'll need to redo some of the parts. I will select this 6 here, split hidden. So as you can see, it's the correct shapes for the inside part here, and for the outside here I will just build this part. Ctrl Shift D, split hidden. So this part right here should be separated. Turn off my perspective. And this part here. It need to have some gap around here. So this one need to be smaller. So for this, making this pattern here, I don't need to focus on from this side here. So because I just want to grab the color texture from the front view here. So now I need these lines here. I can do that easily by creating a new cylinder. I'll select the cylinder 3D. I got the shapes here. Go to the initialize, and for H divide here I'll put 6. So we have this hexagon here, and V divide I'll put 3 like this. And I'm going to make polymesh 3D. Go to my previous snowflakes here and append this cylinder here. Adjust the size. Rotate this. So now we have the correct shapes for this one. I will just duplicate that, and I only need this side of the hexagon. So I'll just do this, or I'll just polygroup all. Should be same. Delete this part and add some thickness. Let me undo, group, dual hidden, and Q mesh this. Now we have this outer thing will need to be thinner than this. Duplicate that. Turn off my transparency. And for these lower parts here, it will need some more single edge loop. Need more something like this. Yeah, this line here. So should be okay like this. And now I will duplicate this part here. Same process as before. Deformation. Rotate 60. Duplicate. Rotate 60. Duplicate. Rotate 60. Now we have this pattern here. You can see on the silhouette here. Simple enough. Going to save this. So now we need to create this one as a pattern. First, we need to adjust our document size. You can adjust it by opening up this drop, but first I already saved this one, so this one right here already saved also. Document size, this width and the height should be the same, so I'll turn off this probe button here, and this width I'll put the same as the top. It's located in document here, this here. Let me just move it right here so you can see it more clearly. This width is 2000 pixel and the height is 2000 pixel, and once I put the 2000 here, and I'll resize the document. Resizing the document, you press yes, and now if you zoom out here, zoom out here, it will looks like this. So now your canvas will be square like this. So you need to press Ctrl N to remove all these snowflakes here, and just drag a new one. Press T to enter edit mode, and press F twice like this. So you can zoom it out a little, just make sure it's on the center. And now what you need to do is open up this render, and for render here, open up this render pass here, and render property, just turn off this shadow, we don't need that. And then now you can press this one or Shift R. So the process is pretty quick since this is really low res. Now we have this mask here. So from this mask, you can just click this one and save it as JPEG. So I'll press save. And now this will save to my Explorer. So now I'm going to do is choose this paintbrush here, open up this divider, and I will import the same files. So now we have these snowflakes as an alpha. So from here, you can press Act tool. This is to make sure your canvas is have the correct size. So if you zoom it like this, so you can see your entire character, but if you press Act tool, it will turn like this. So now I will need to apply this alpha here on the stocking part, but first I'll create a backup. I can remove this previous one, just press delete, hide this one, and now I will apply this on this part right here. So as you can see, it's create something like this. I will need to change my dots to drag rectangle, and now it will create alpha, looks like this. Sometimes there's a stretch like this, so we can fix that manually. So check your reference. Now we need to create this part here on here. As you notice, this part is pretty big. If we add it like this, it will stretch on the back like this. So we don't want that. So one of the solution, you can fix it manually like I said before. The other one is using UV. UV unwrap is a feature for 3D model. So it's to saving the color of your model. You can use this polypaint here. This is a polypaint, or you using the texture. To adding the texture, you will need UV. UV is over here. There's a UV. So to add UV, you can open up ZPlugin, and there's UV master here. Make sure your model color is turned on, and once it looks like this, just press this one, work on clone. It will clone this model and go to the lowest subdivision level. And now we can add some UVs on this model. You can turn on this polygroup first because our model has some polygroup, and just press unwrap. Now this model here is now have UV. You can see the UV by pressing this flatten here. Now your model has this UV. This is called UV. So it's a surface of your model. Imagine this model here. We cut it and then we spread it like just like an animal skin, something like that. And then we flatten this. So this is called UV. So to back to the original, you can press this unflatten. And now you need to copy these UVs and bring it to this subtool here, our origin file, the one that has subtool count here, and press paste UV. And once it's done, now this model has UVs. So if this model has UVs, now the UV map here, there's a difference between the model that has no UV or has UV. As you can see, I press up and down. If I press up here, selecting this previous model, the one that has no UV, it has this morph UV and delete UV is turned off. If I go to the new one, this one here can be clicked now. So I think I'll remove this one, delete, and duplicate it again, since right now the model has some UVs. And you can press this morph UV. It will spread your model like this. And now I can just add this one right here. Just make sure it has the correct color. I can use like this, copy this color here, undo. I think it can be a bit darker, and turn off morph. I think it's a bit too big right now. Let me just create something like this. Make sure it's correct size. And then I morph UV. Now we have it here. So we know the position. So let me undo that, morph UV again. And like this. Should be fine now. Yeah, it's about the correct size. So now this pattern here doesn't stretch like before, like when we just apply alpha in here. But the problem is, since this model has this one here, this is called seam line. This is where the model is being cut. So if we want to draw something on the seam line, it will cut like this. So for example, if I draw something like this, unhide and press morph, you can see it will cut like this. So you can have the perfect aligned pattern here. So this one here, sadly you need to do it manually. So for here, since this one is pretty smaller, I can just use this pane and turn on my backface mask. Probably but like this. Need to be a bit more front. Thing looks like this. Now we need to fix this color. I think this color looks a bit different. Let me turn back. Oh no, it's the same color, so I can start coloring it, fixing this part here. Probably this will be get a bit harder since we already add some highlight on our model, but it should be easy to fix like this. Turn off dynamic. Make sure the size is similar between each of these. Like this should be fine. And hide all. I think they have another one here. Go to the alpha BPR mask. Copy the color. This one looks different. Like this should be fine. I think it a bit lower. Let's morph UV. So it's located around here. Undo, morph UV again. Turn off back face mask. Morph UV. And hide all. Think it a bit lower. So around here. Now we need to add this diamond shape. You can just maybe there is diamond shape here. If we don't have one, we can create a new one. Same process. I need to go with this parts here. Around here and here. Let's create this diamond shapes. You can just reuse this part here, duplicate, solo mode. You can use this diamond, Del hidden, Z modeler, zoom out, press render, open up the render palette and save this mask. Go back to your files, actual size, diamond alpha here. You can just add texture. This one more like over here. Also down here. It's not too visible, so I will move it about here. Okay, so another one here. Here also. Another one here. You can add some more on the back if you want. Okay, now we're done with this pattern here. I think I need to make some adjustment here in this part. Just a small rotation. Now it should be fine like this. For the base, you can add the snowflake also. I will color this top part still blue, and this lower part I'll color it white. Add some subdivision. I'll add this one right here. Just put a random with a different size. And add the diamond shapes also. I think it's better if this one right here a bit bigger, so it looks like she actually stepped on the snowflakes. So let's change that. I will change the color and paint. Now should be look like this. Should be good. I'll change the diamond. I'll make sure everything is in the same direction. Should be look like this. Turn on your perspective. So now I think the color is kind of done. I will change this one the same blue like this. Next, we need to regroup some of these parts and applying some of the material. So we will render it on ZBrush first, and later on we will render it on Marmoset. So I think this one here, I forgot the color. Just the same color. Yeah, I think we're done. So to the next part. Before we start adding the material, we need to also add some UV on the head part. So you go to the lowest subdivision level and mask this front area of the head like this. So we have the polygroup. I think it's need to be a bit bigger, so to cover up this face a bit more. Can add polygroup like this. Make sure it's symmetry. And next is you can just split this into two polygroups like this. So now we have 3 polygroups. So go to UV Master again, work on clone, make sure polygroup turn on and unwrap. Once we flatten, since this face part, this yellow one here, we flatten, we know it is this part right here. So I usually try to make sure this part here, I will rotate using Gizmo, make sure it's straight like this. As you can see, this one is nose part. So I'll rotate it like this, and make this one a little bit bigger. And once it's bigger, for the rest of the part, I'll just move it and rotate it like this. So I'll just need the UV for this head part here, but make sure this part here not overlap, because for the texture we need everything has some gap like this. So now we can unflatten and flatten it again to see. So it looks like this. Unflatten and copy UVs and go to this one here, the original files, and paste UVs. Now this model has UVs, and you can open up this texture map here and just press new texture. And now we go to create here and new from Polypaint. Make sure this one has a RGB 100% and select this paintbrush, new from Polypaint, and now it has something like this. So this is the texture. You can export this to other 3D software. Since later we will render it on Marmoset, we're gonna need this one for our render. But as you can see here, this resolution is 1024 pixel. So the resolution is a little bit looks like this. We're going to improve it. You can open this UV map here. You can increase to 2000 here or 4000. Just to be safe, you just press this 4000. Since all of this model here, we just only need to use 1 or 2 texture for this one, and probably later the stocking one also. So I'll just press this 4K one and new from Polypaint. Now the texture size is by 4K, and the texture should be a little bit higher. So now we have this one, and next we'll add some material and setting up the scene for rendering in ZBrush.